Welcome to the Breakthrough Advisor Podcast. In this podcast, we inspire advisors with ideas and pathways to break through barriers and build a thriving retirement income business. We will interview innovative technology developers, business leaders, and successful advisors, then help you organize and execute these ideas to move your business forward.
Hello and welcome to the Breakthrough Advisor. I'm your host, Eric Johnson, and today I've got a special guest almost in studio. Of course, we're social distancing really well. I believe Robert Sofia is down south someplace, maybe in Florida if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not. That's all we'll say about that. But Robert, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me. Nice to be with you today.
Yeah. Now, you are the founder, chairman, and CEO of Snappy Kraken, correct?
I am. Yeah, I should clarify, though. I am actually a co-founder, so I have two partners who are awesome. My CMO and our CTO both founded the business with me, and we've been together over a decade from our previous venture and now this one. So I'm not the only one who gets all the credit, but I am the chairman and CEO.
All right. Sounds good. I'm excited to talk today about, what you guys are doing and what this, 2021 brings for you and for the folks that you work with. But before that, I do want to clarify. Are you in Florida?
I am. Yeah. Northeast coast of Florida, just south of Jacksonville in a town called Palm Coast.
Oh, and it's got to be warmer than where I'm at. So I'm jealous, and I know that we're not going to talk about that on the podcast today because crying on a podcast is just not something people want to hear.
Yeah,
right?
Nobody wants to hear it. That's right.
Okay, so let's talk about Snappy Kraken. What is Snappy Kraken?
Yeah, Snappy Kraken is a automated growth program for advisors.
Okay.
So there are, marketing automation platforms out there, but you have to develop all the content yourself. There are content libraries out there, but the content is generic and watered down.
Yes.
There are consultants and coaches out there, but they don't have the content and the automation.
Correct.
So Snappy Kraken is really unique because we offer all of the content, all of the automation, and all of the coaching and consulting needed to ultimately put a complete growth program in place for your business and make sure it's running on autopilot. And our vision is to essentially help advisors do anything that's needed related to growing their business online. And so when it comes to online advertising, moving people through a framework from cold relationship to raving fan referring client, we use automation, content, and our coaching process to help them put that all in place.
Well, I'll tell you this. You and I were talking before the podcast started and, just chit-chatting. And I shared with you that I've been a business coach and consultant for many years for financial advisors and other professionals. And that is the one thing that I got the most pushback on was content creation. And I would help them to figure out where they could outsource the stuff. But I would say, look, you have to put out content. You have to be relevant in whatever marketplace you want to be in, whatever venue you're going to use. You've got to get stuff out there. And that was the most difficult because it's time consuming. It's very time consuming. And you hit the nail on the head when you said that there are groups out there, we won't name any, that have content. But I will tell you again, as I would work with people, I could go to their website, I could go to any of their social media platforms, and I could just take one glance at what they had on there, and I could tell you exactly who created that content because it's the same thing that I would see over and over and over again. And they were shocked. They're like, "Oh no, it's customized. It says your name. That's not customized. That's the only thing that's different than what everybody else has." So I love, I've been to your website. I know what you guys do at a very high level view. I'd love to hear more about how you do this for advisor. How does somebody sign up and get the ball rolling? And what kind of content are you creating?
Yeah, well, first of all, you addressed something really important. All content's not created equal. And if you're an advisor, you are an advisor because you are great with numbers, you're great with planning, you love helping people, you love the relationship. You didn't become an advisor to become a professional marketer.
Correct.
And a lot of advisors feel pressured to build all of this marketing. And then when they try, in many cases, they're not actually good at it. And so they're building content that isn't performing. And then they feel like they're wasting their time and it's taking them away from their core business activities. So they go out and they just buy this generic content from these providers. And that content is not good quality. It's not personalized. It's not differentiated. And that's really why we partnered with InsureMark, because they said, okay, we want to do something really differentiated. We love your content. We also have our own vision for content. And so they have a unique version of Snappy Kraken called Catalyst that's integrated with their systems. And We put all of our content on it. They're able to put their own content on it, and it's integrated with the versions of their CRM and other things they use. So now their advisors all have a very unique content approach. And people who want to sign up for Snappy Kraken from inside of InsureMark, generally they can use their marketing dollar allocation for that, and they can get signed up directly through into the Catalyst platform through their existing integrations and platforms. So it's very easy. Other people come to Snappy Kraken directly, but I know we're talking really to the InsureMark audience. So I would just say that if you're looking for an automated growth program, and that you have a content vacuum, maybe you're missing content for your clients, or you're missing content to generate referrals, or you're missing content that's actually getting you leads into the pipeline or generating appointment requests from prospects. There's content for all of that, and it's not just middle of funnel content. Advisors are told to write blogs, but who's going to see those blogs? How are they going to get to the blogs? If they read the blog, what are they going to do next? How are they going to go from reading your blog to becoming an appointment? And there's content that we have built into complete campaigns that are part of that framework of moving people from cold to referring raving fan client. And you have to just use a combination of content and automation at various phases in that journey to move them along. And that's what we're helping them do with the Catalyst platform.
Now, you said it's integrated with CRM, correct?
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So,
sorry. That is something that every advisor that I ever worked with, that was, again, they're numbers people. I want to see results. How do I know who's seeing this? How do I know, that somebody's actually reading this content or seeing this post, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, any social media, Twitter, for crying out loud? How do I know who's doing what, and how do I track that? Because they want results. I don't blame them, right? But that is one thing that I think so many people that are creating their own content, or even if they're getting content from someplace else and it's just being posted for them, they're not tracking it, and they're not doing it well at all.
That's right. And I think the word results is really important to quantify.
Yeah.
Because, inside of our platform, you can track everything. You can see the contacts coming in. You can see what they're clicking on, what they're opening, what they're requesting. There are certain triggers that are happening based on different activities and sending them down different paths depending on what they've done. And you can track all that. But results are something that advisors often don't think about properly, because they tend to think, I'm going to launch marketing and then I'm going to immediately get clients. And they have this sort of old school mentality from doing business offline, which is, I just met somebody, I shook their hand, we had a conversation, and I immediately was able to build trust. And now they're going to meet with me in my office and I have a 70% closing ratio. But when you're dealing with people online and they don't have that advantage of shaking your hand, looking you in the eye, it takes longer to build trust. So results need to be looked at from a lot of different angles. Sure, how many views you're getting is one result. How many clicks you're getting is another result. How many people are opening your emails, the percentage of conversions on your emails, all those things are results. But the real outcome that you have to be fixated on, looking for in the future, is that over time you're going to create a massive pipeline of people, growing and nurturing that pipeline, and what starts as a trickle will become a flood. So your result is something that you're really looking for a year or 2 years down the road, because you've built this entire growth engine where now everything is on autopilot. If you just think of results in a very short-term view, like what's happening this week, it's easy to get disappointed because it really takes time to build, especially when you're starting from zero.
Yeah. And I'm not challenging on the time frame that you said, but I want your opinion on this. As I'm looking at the advisors that I've been working with currently, and the way the consumer is now consuming information, we don't have that opportunity to shake hands anymore, right? In COVID world, 2020 especially, you're not meeting face to face. People are taking more in online. They're doing more research online. They're meeting online because of the safety concerns. And I think that the time frame that you're talking about actually has been accelerated. What are your thoughts on that for 2021?
Yeah, well, actually, the way I was talking about time frame was not in relation to the time one prospect goes from cold to for example, a meeting or a client.
Okay.
I was talking about the overall outcome and result, which can take time to get in place where you have a complete, predictable, automated growth engine working for you. But it's very possible that you run an ad today, like, retiring in uncertain times. How is the Biden tax plan going to affect you? What tax cuts do you need to know about in 2021? What are the biggest pitfalls of your retirement plan? Whatever those things are, you run those campaigns. It's very possible somebody opts in, and within a day, they're requesting a meeting with you. Because there's a lot more people searching for financial advice online right now, especially because of the uncertainty. We've seen a dramatic increase in the conversion rates and click rates in our campaigns from cold traffic. So last year, our average conversion rate on cold traffic was about 9.4%, which meant a cold prospect hits a landing page and they go from there to actually asking for information from the advisor. So a little less than 10%. Today, it's averaging north of 15%. So obviously that's a 50% increase, and that happened over the course of this year. And a lot of that is due to the nature of the environment right now and people needing guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Catalyst, I know that there's a lot of folks that have access to your systems. What are you seeing as far as how long it's taking someone to engage, an advisor specifically, an advisor to engage your platform, begin kind of researching it and understanding it, and then actually implementing it in their business?
Yeah, we have an onboarding process that typically we target about 7 days tops to get fully onboarded and trained.
Wow, that's great.
And then we ask advisors to, of course, gradually implement the program over time. So we have weekly workshops that they can attend at least once a month is the minimum we recommend. Learn about the latest strategies, view the latest campaigns, and gradually launch those and get them running in their business. And usually it takes advisors a total of about 6 months to build up their complete automated system. So if you think about what goes into the entire automated marketing engine that you really need to have in a modern advisory business, it's not the kind of thing you just flip a switch, especially if you want it to be somewhat personalized and relevant to your business. So we have what we call the cold to gold framework. And it's a complete strategy for moving prospects from cold to gold relationships. And in that process, there are 6 phases. The first phase is about getting noticed. So that's the bold, unique, strategically designed content that's there to grab people's attention. Then you have to, step 2, earn contacts. That's the compelling and relevant offers that people have to subscribe to. That results in email subscribers. Then step 3, you have to build credibility. And that's where educational nurturing sequences designed to turn those email subscribers into warm leads happens. Then you have to start conversations. Now that they're a warm lead, you have to use action-focused content to generate meeting requests. Then you run your personal sales process, and then after they're a client, that's the last phase is deepen relationships, and that's where the ongoing meaningful outreach ensures that clients feel appreciated and prompts them to share with their friends, thus generating referrals. So each of those phases requires a different type of content. You don't talk to a client the same way you talk to a stranger. And therefore, what you do is you get set up in about a week, and then over the next 6 months or so, you're gradually implementing these campaigns, starting with the most essential ones, like a new client onboarding campaign, an 8-week prospect nurturing campaign, the monthly Visual Insights newsletters. And then, we start inserting niche campaigns. Now you've got a prospecting campaign running for women, one for physicians, one for accumulators, one for retirees. And that's all bringing people in. Then you've got different middle of funnel nurturing sequences running to build credibility and start those conversations. And so ultimately you get to a point where 6 months down the road, you have 10, 15, 20 different campaigns all active, all linked together, and that becomes your growth engine.
Wow. That's fantastic. Now, I know that this podcast will be released at the very, very beginning of 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And everybody, I think everybody in some way, shape, or form does New Year's resolutions, right? They want to change something personally. They want to change something in their business. They want to change something, whatever, right? And I know what I'd like to see every business owner do, right, on a personal level, and everybody wants growth in one way, shape, or form. What would you say is your company's biggest push for 2021? What are some of your guys' goals?
Yeah, well, for us, it's about investing in a few key areas. So number one is R&D when it comes to our platform. So we're doing a lot of upgrades, a lot of integrations, a lot of new features that our members have been asking for. So basically making our platform easier to use and more powerful. Then it's around content innovation. So we've looked at over 10 million data points this year from tens of thousands of campaigns that we've launched for advisors, and we're seeing what's working and what's not working. So we have to continue to innovate, make things really relevant to the marketplace today, and make sure that our content continues to perform above average and work well for advisors. And then the third area for us is really about the infrastructure of our own company. We have 37 employees. By the end of next year, we're projected to grow to 75.
Wow.
That's going to take.
It's huge.
Oh yeah, well, we're growing fast. We've grown over 400% in the last 12 months. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're on a bit of a growth tear right now, which is good. But it means that we have to scale that growth efficiently, and that means employee processes and training and infrastructure that allows us to make sure everybody is really supporting our members in the best way possible. And I think that's what we're doing. But if you put that in an advisory perspective, it's the same, really. You have to improve your technology. You have to improve the quality of your marketing and the quality of your sales process. And you have to improve the way that you take care of your people. And those are things that every business needs to be looking at to stay competitive. And they should look back each year over year and see that they've made strides in all those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've worked with a lot of different groups that they'll bring on their own marketing person, which is, again, it can be very good or it can be a drain, right? Because a lot of times, again, it's another employee. They're not going to be able to come up with all the content that people are hoping for. The systems, they don't have those like your company does. And so there's a pretty big contrast between bringing somebody on that's going to do all your marketing and then outsourcing. What do you think the main differences are there?
Yeah, well, whether it's easier or more difficult when you add a person, it all depends on that person. And I really hope advisors are listening to this part because, I used to run marketing in a $1 billion RIA. I worked with a firm where we grew assets from about 150 million under management to 650 million under management in less than 5 years. And I did all their marketing. And I was the VP of marketing at those firms. And I can tell you that I never had a marketing team. It just wasn't something that was possible for those firms at that level. It wasn't the best way to invest that money. And I did everything with outsourcing. I used freelance writers, freelance designers, freelance videographers to do everything. But the key was I ran point on those projects. I managed those projects. And so I would meet with the advisors. We would come up with the ideas. And then I would use freelancers to help execute because there's no way one person can do everything. In fact, the marketing that we deploy for our advisors at Snappy Kraken, which I consider to be the very baseline of what you need for a digital strategy, we have an 8-person content team that's working all the time. It would cost advisors at least $500,000 a year to pay for this team. So unless you're at that level, then you have to outsource. So that's what you do. You get a good person who understands marketing, who is a good marketer themselves, but then you don't expect them to do all the writing, all the design, all the videography. Like if you're looking for that person that's not real, that's a unicorn, there is virtually no one who can do all those things. And if there are, I guarantee you they're not an expert at all those things. So for example, to get a high quality conversion off of an email, you need a direct response copywriting style. Direct response copywriting is a skill. There are writers who do direct response copywriting. Now, you do not write blog posts or white papers in direct response style. That's a long form content style. You need a different type of writer with a different skill set for that. Now, that's 2 types of writers alone. What about editing? What about proofing? What about videos? Who's going to write the video script, produce the video? Who understands lighting and audio editing? My point is that the best way to do great marketing is to have a person who can project manage and understands what great quality is, and then give them enough budget to go out there and manage the freelancers for you, or work with an agency like Snappy Kraken that's done all of it for you.
Yeah. Robert, I absolutely 100% agree. I don't think that anybody can do it by themselves. Everything technology-wise is changing. All the different platforms that are out there that people have to utilize to get their message out there, they're changing on a consistent basis. And it's just not possible, in my opinion. It's not possible for one person to do that. So it's a beautiful thing. I like the fact that you have a large team. The growth that you're talking about is incredible. Obviously, that's a huge sign of your success. And I congratulate you and your team and your other founders there. You've definitely put together something that is robust and works, right? That's what we're seeing. And Catalyst is definitely something that people need to learn more about. Do you have an introduction webinar or training for those that have maybe seen Catalyst on the platform but have not yet pulled the trigger?
Yeah, absolutely. All that's available. I would ask you to talk to your internal, ask them for direction there. We've done a number of them. They've all been recorded. I'm not sure personally inside of the ecosystem where those things are living, but we also do regular live webinars with Catalyst on at least a quarterly basis. So definitely just reach out to your internal, ask them for how you can see that, and they'll connect you with someone who can walk you through the entire thing, even personally.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of personally, Robert, do you mind if we shift gears here a little bit? I'd like to learn a little bit more about you and kind of you personally instead of all about business.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. It depends on the questions.
Well, for this is a rated G podcast, so they'll be easy. They'll be softballs. How about that?
All right. Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. I hear you're married and you've got a son, correct?
I am. And yes. My wife and I have been married for 19 years, and we have a 2-year-old. We waited a good long time to get ready to start building a family. You
did. Well, that sounds, it falls right in line with all the work that you do. Very much a lot of planning, research, development, and a 2-year-old.
And patience, yeah.
And patience.
That's right.
Wow, 2 years old. That is, well, I could say that about any age, but I love that age, right? It's the curiosity, just they're way more fun. I'm a little older than you, it seems. I've got a brand new grandbaby, and she's cute as a button. Don't get me wrong, but she's not fun. Right, she just lays there, and so
yeah. No, it is when they get to this age, it starts to be a lot of fun. In fact, my son's actually 2.5, and
yeah,
he is. I see the world through his eyes every day, and it's delightful.
That is beautiful. So when you're not working and improving the lives of all these advisors, what are you doing for fun?
Yeah, I actually live near the coast, and the Intracoastal Waterway is in my backyard, and we do a lot of boating, we do a lot of beaching, we do a lot of sunset cruising. I just love coastal living, and
yeah.
My big release is also cooking. So I do a lot of cooking at home and throughout the week and on the weekends, and do big brunches and stuff like that.
Nice.
I play a little classical guitar, and that's about it. I'm a pretty simple guy.
All right. So what's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh man, probably filet and lobster tails.
God, I shouldn't have asked that question. I really shouldn't have asked that question.
Yeah.
I'm landlocked and dying here in Nebraska. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I like lobster tail. I like to cook seafood. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I hate to brag. But no, I do. It's really easy. My perfect day is probably like brunch in the morning, a little football in the afternoon, float in the pool, watch the game, and then throw some fillets on the grill and steam up some lobster tails. And, that's a pretty good day for me.
That sounds fantastic. One of these days, I'm just going to have to, I'll do a special report and I'll just follow you around all that day just to document your perfect day and just kind of join you if that's okay. Maybe we'll arrange that after COVID. Yeah, I know, right?
Move to Florida, yep.
All right, Robert, we're wrapping up this podcast. This has been fantastic, but I'm not going to let you off the hook yet. What is your biggest advice, your best advice for all those listening for 2021? What is the one thing that they need to be doing?
Is this related to marketing or life in general, or
both?
What are you
know what?
for?
We're going to call it both. I want your best life advice, and I want your best marketing advice.
All right. So I would say, first of all, when it comes to marketing, make sure that you don't rely on one single thing to achieve marketing success. Make sure that you treat your marketing efforts like you diversify your investments. Have more than one channel feeding your marketing engine, because invariably channels will go up and go down in their effectiveness. Markets will go up and down. Tactics will fade out. And the more diversified you are, the more you can ensure consistency in your growth. So make sure you always have something running for lead gen for several audiences. Make sure you always have something running for lead nurturing. Make sure you always have something running for relationship expansion and nurturing. Make sure that you're not just relying on one thing. And some advisors for years, they relied on a radio show or they relied on seminars, and all of a sudden now, COVID happened, and then boom, no seminars, no business. So diversify your marketing strategies in 2021 and make sure you're covering the entire journey of the relationship. In terms of, life advice, look, I'm not a life coach, but I think that 2020 has been a really hard year. It's going to be difficult to overestimate the toll that it's taken. And I think it's really important for people going into 2021 to cut themselves a little slack, realize that we've been through a lot, and keep balanced and focused on the more important things in life. Make sure that you're prioritizing your own health, your own wellness, physically, emotionally, and mentally, your family's physical, emotional, and mental wellness with your business interests. I know there's a lot of things that people have been driven to, crutches, could be some bad habits. It could be, just strictly focusing on work. But I think 2021 is a good year to rebalance, reset, and make sure that you're really achieving, true success by having all areas of your life appropriately working together in harmony.
Wow. What a great way to end the podcast. Robert, I appreciate your time. Robert Sofia, one of the founders, chairman and CEO of Snappy Kraken, or as most of the advisors here will know it as Catalyst. And please, of course, reach out to your internal rep if you want more information about Catalyst and how it can be implemented in your business. Again, Robert Sofia, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
You bet. And of course, the last thank you goes to you, the listening audience. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Breakthrough Advisor podcast. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, please click the subscribe now button below. This way, when we come out with a new podcast, it'll show up directly on your listening device. This makes it much easier to share these podcasts with your colleagues. Again, thanks for listening today. For everyone in SureMark, this is Eric Johnson reminding you to live your best day every day. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Breakthrough Advisor podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of SureMark. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only.